on these door lock cylinders. We got them back from the locksmith. We had a situation where they all had lock cylinders, the two front doors and the two cargo doors, but there was no key at all for them. Frank never had it, and I wanted to go ahead and do this. So it was a couple $100 to make keys from whence there was no key at all, and they were all different. At least the fronts were different than the two backs. So anyway, we did find some gaskets for the door handles. These are like a rubber part, and the part numbers are right here. You can ignore that door lock clip. I had to add a door lock clip. But these are the two part numbers that were on the different rubber gaskets for the door handles, for not only the front doors, but also for the cargo doors. Cargo door ones, they fit really good. The front door ones, I had to hog out the hole a little bit so that it would line up better. You can see that if it would line up better on that angle. So we'll still make sure that that's as adjusted as possible so that it looks nice and clean. But as you can see, I had to widen that hole out for the screw. So I'm gonna put a little bit of silicone on there to hold it in place and go ahead and reassemble it. So hopefully that's gonna turn out like a nice surprise for Frank. I wanted to show the technique for installing these cargo door lock cylinders. There's not much to it, but they are possible to install incorrectly, so maybe this will save you a little time. First thing we need to see is inside this door, we need to pay attention to the position of that piece right there. That has got to engage with that little piece there. So generally it goes in like so. And what works for me to put that clip in there see if I can get this focused on there. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's kind of bouncing around. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. What works for me to get that clip in there is to just reach around the back of the front of the door and hold the lock cylinder in with my left hand and install the clip. Just slide it up against the sheet metal there and it should lock in. So I'm not gonna be able to do that when I'm holding the camera. So that one you're gonna have to take my word for it. So that's the lock cylinder installation on the cargo doors, the rear and the side. Just wanted to show a quick shot of the clip installed on that lock cylinder, how it holds it in against the inside of the door. Normally that clip is flat up against the sheet metal. This one's sticking up a little bit on my end. But anyway, that's a pretty good shot of it. So that's what it should look like. Okay, I was working on some of the carburetor linkage and other underhood items, and I wanted to share a few part numbers. If you guys are doing a cylinder head or intake manifold, you may run into needing some of these parts. The first thing that I ran into was, and I think I showed this earlier, was this one piece here on the carburetor linkage is just worn out. because this linkage piece was wobbling in there, and that was causing a lot of slop, obviously. And so we cleaned these all up, painted them, and dig through our pile, and we found some of these accelerator pump bushings, or excuse me, accelerator linkage bushings. Now this is one that came on one end, and it reminded me that there's probably one on the other end. So this is the original one, and then I had a couple of different versions. One of them was this original equipment one, and this is the part number right there. This is a GM part number, but I remember I got these quite a while ago. I don't know if they're still available. And that one didn't really fit too well, but I remember using these in the past in other applications on accelerator linkage, and they fit really well. The one that worked the best for me was this one, and I got this one at Dan's Classic Auto Parts. Now I just checked, and they are still available. They're $1.25. There's the part number, and it actually costs you probably about as much for shipping as it does for the part. But that one fits on there a lot better. This one has a slightly larger inside diameter. I could have made that one fit if I wanted to heat up the end of that and just kind of shove it on there. But I checked around with my other stuff, and that's the one to run with on this application. That'll tighten it right up, and we'll show that once it's all together. The other thing that I did was I got this temperature switch, got it all marked up because I'm going to put this one on the shelf. Cost me about 15 bucks with the tax and everything. And this is the switch that goes in the cylinder head, and that turns on the idiot light, the temperature light at high temperature. Now, they had two different applications. One of them was for a switch, and the other one was for a gauge. Of course, this is a first gen, so they never had a gauge option on this that I know of. So we ran with this one. Just wanted to make sure that was installed correctly. I had a new one in there. I didn't test the old one, but it was looking pretty cruddy. So wanted to make sure that I got that. Once again, here's the part number on that. Got that from Napa, obviously. And you look up parts like this, and it comes up under temperature switch. It doesn't come up under coolant switch or something else like that. So you got to be real specific. The other thing that I wanted to take a look at was this valve. This goes on the heater hose, and it's the original way to turn on and off the heater flow, and in wintertime or summertime. And so this one wasn't looking too good, and I wanted to replace it. This is the new one. I forget how much they were, about $20, $30, something like that. Some of them were, there was a couple of versions, a couple of different options, and one of them was kind of outrageous. This is one that I got a long time ago from Napa. You can see the part number there, 660-1271. This time when I ordered it, it came in this box with a different part number. So maybe that'll help search for this water valve. And then there was some other numbers on the side. I don't know if that'll help. So there you go. There's a few parts that if you're doing a cylinder head job or intake manifold that you may run across that you want to replace. So hopefully that helps. Okay, I've got the carburetor linkage assembled, and I wanted to just get a couple of close-ups and give you a few part numbers. Sometimes these are disassembled for a long period of time, or there's parts missing, and sometimes it can be difficult to reconstruct it if it hasn't been put on there, or if you're doing a job that was just totally disassembled. Anyway, we've got the Rochester B model. We haven't overhauled it, we just scrubbed the outside. The first part is the linkage that attaches to the carburetor. This is, and there's a clip missing here. And that clip is right there. So that is what holds it on there. And I've got that one from this assortment from Robco. Let's get it in there. There we go. So this was a 6-pack I got some time ago, and it's the one on the upper right, part number 3572, number 7, left hand, 1/4 inch. So that's the clip that holds on that shaft to the carburetor. And we're gonna pull that carburetor off since it's just on there for mock-up. Show you the rest of this. Don't want to lose that. So this is, get my thumb out of there. This is how it goes. Of course, you can see my chrome foot moving, or Frank's chrome foot. So I just wanted to go over this a little bit, show it from a couple of different angles in case you're trying to reconstruct this. So this piece is removable. That's what holds it on there. I put a little dab of anti-seize on there as well as on this shaft. There's a small C-clip that holds that on the end. I don't have the exact size, but that's what it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and get a few more of those, and then I'll have the size. Hopefully I can add that to the comments section. I had to straighten this piece of linkage arm. You can see it from the previous part, previous video. That looked a lot better once it was straightened out. And then there's that bushing that I told you about, and from Dan's Classic, and it fits right on there. This one took a 1/4 inch clip, hitch pin clip, and there wasn't enough room for the 1/4 inch hitch pin clip on the other end. So I went with a 3/32. So you notice I have the T part of it facing the clip, and you can see there's just not quite enough room to put that 1/4 inch one in there. I hated to have two different hitch pin clips. Let me show you the difference between these. There they are. This one's the 3/32, and there's the 1/4 inch, and that's what they call them, hitch pin clip. So, and that is pretty much it for the carburetor linkage. There was a little bit of play right on that end. That's not really much, but if I had more time, I would take that raised section, and I don't know how well you can see that, but there's a slightly raised section right there. I could probably pound that down a little bit with a punch and tighten that up, but I don't think that little bit of play is gonna make a lot of difference. So, and I found this when I was looking through my stuff. I did not use these, but I had these exhaust manifold studs. This is a set that I got from Inline Tube. You see the part number there, 15509. And these are, I'll put them here in the light. They've got this hex fitting on the end, which I really like. They're nice and long, but like most of them, I just wish they would be a little bit longer here, because there's maybe another 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch that it could go into the exhaust manifold. And then of course these have the brass nuts on them, which is nice. A little different expansion contraction rates, and keeps them from sliding off there. So anyway, that's pretty much it.